In addition to protecting developable land, what we've done quite a bit of at the Dennis Conservation Land Trust is protecting wetlands, right? Both coastal wetlands like salt marshes, but also freshwater wetlands. And wetlands, more than many other habitat types, are absolutely essential for sequestering carbon.
We will not only restore water quality there, but we're going to restore a fish habitat that has been virtually wiped out by commercial cranberry farming over the years.
We have recaptured 167 tons of shell. So we've diverted that from the waste stream, but we've also overwintered and put back in the harbor to make more oyster.
So we're taking the measures to create those nature-based solutions by creating more living shorelines, really elevating the natural microtopography is what we like to call it, to minimize the way it attenuates some of the energy that's coming in with flooding. And to also help that barrier beach system do what it's already doing, trapping area in the sand where we're starting to see some depletion and helping to reinforce that ecosystem.
From an action standpoint, I think some of the direct work that we can do, like with our eelgrass restoration projects, which are obviously about restoring eelgrass, but it's also really about researching different techniques and tools that we can utilize in different parts of our harbors to help maintain and restore eelgrass wherever possible, because that helps to sustain resilient shorelines for us as well.
We all live on an island, we know we got flooded, we know there's severe erosion on the south shore, and so the town is really invested, and the community's obviously very invested in coastal resiliency to reduce those risks.
I can tell you that I'm working on a project right now where we're swapping out moorings for some of these folks in the harbor to moorings that are eelgrass friendly, that are not going to scour with chain when the tide drops and the boat swings around, and they still get to have their boat. And there are a lot of options like that where we can make progress and we can keep pushing this rock up this hill.
Salt marshes are at risk of sea levels rising. Marshes are becoming more flooded, they're inundated for longer, stressing the plants. The plants are dying, they're occurring at the Glen Flags. But there's some limited things, like the reserve is experimenting with things like runnels and ways to prolong the life of marshes, but the long-term solution is to protect land inland of marshes with land conservation, and maybe some work on how to facilitate the inland movement of marshes. I think that's a really critical thing happening in New Service happening.
We're working with folks in Wellfleet, with Friends of Herring River, to look at that tidal restoration that's happening. So we're studying that now, especially now the tidal flow is starting to change. We're seeing changes there. So we're doing a lot of that work just to understand how it's actually happening.
As I'm looking at different funding opportunities and strategies for how we can nourish our coastal dunes in that area, and how we can make sure that remains a usable and serviceable piece of infrastructure, as far into the future as possible. And then even planning further out than that for what happens when that ceases to be the case, is a pretty central part of what the coastal resilience focus is right now.
This island is so vulnerable. We're tied to only what can arrive here by ship or plane. So to be able to grow more food here would be amazing.
And the farmers that we support are growing with methods called regenerative farming. So they're really fueling the soil, and by fueling the soil, you are fixing carbon, and you are creating a food system that can create a more sustainable food system for all of the Cape, but also regenerate our soil.
Even in Massachusetts Climate Action Plan, where this component of a benefit that ecosystems like salt marshes and seagrass beds can provide was not factored into that Climate Action Plan. But today it is, because we did that work to help to sort of educate policymakers, bring that science there, and now there are state agencies looking at actually developing a whole blue carbon initiative around that.
The good news is that on Cape Cod and here in Massachusetts, we have been clear-eyed about this challenge for many, many years, starting with the Global Warming Solutions Act of 2008. In recent years, we've passed, actually every session, we've passed climate-related legislation to put Massachusetts on a path to net zero carbon emissions by 2050 and to address a myriad of challenges that the climate crisis is going to face.
But some of the cool things that I'm working on right now is exactly some of the points that came up in this film this evening. I'm developing a climate action plan, a climate action sustainability plan for Nantucket. It's been several years in the making. It has been through a few attempts in the past. We now have a very valid way of moving forward with it so that we can do the hard thing, find a way for an island community to find a way to get to net zero in some form. We need to do a greenhouse gas inventory, figure out how much carbon and other GHGs we're creating as an island, understand which industries it's coming from, and then understand some potential pitfalls that we're going to have to work through.
We're looking at, energy storage as a tool for resilience, and looking at helping people make informed decisions about heat pumps and how do we make this leap away from fossil fuels in our personal lives and our homes.
If we're going to do this EV transition, if we're going to do it at all, it's a serious problem like chicken and egg. Do you get the electric cars first, the infrastructure first? People really need to see the infrastructure like on a large scale before they'll consider, most people, getting an EV. I mean, we have the early adopters, some in the room who've already jumped on the EV train, and they don't really need to see it, but everyone else needs to see these things installed.
And the more that we can get to be like Kodiak, there's no reason why we can't be 100% renewable on the Cape and have an energy cooperative that is the Outer Cape Energy Cooperative or whatever, and keep all that money here.
There are some huge challenges that are in front of us, but the fact that people are focusing on this is really pretty remarkable. And believe me, it's more than just you who are focused on this.